What's up, y'all? It's Ty. In this video today, I'm going to be giving you guys an update, a complete breakdown of the auction house in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM, where it's at and what we have seen over the past couple of weeks. Now, as I do dive into that, if you are new to the channel, man, please smash that subscribe button. I really do appreciate all of the recent support on the channel. Now, here's my input. Here's my thoughts on where the auction house is currently at. I think it's in a position compared to, let's say, a month or 2 months ago that is way more accessible to the average person. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about cards that, are no money spent type of cards, like, some rubies that you can maybe get for like 1600 MT. Now, obviously, you're still going to have to figure out who you personally want to pick up, but there are some decent sapphires, some decent rubies for right around that price tag. Now, that's that price tag. Like a Troydan Prince for 1000 MT is an example of a solid budget card. Now, as you do go up the ranks, like amethyst wise, diamond wise, especially like diamond wise, there's some solid diamonds that are not super expensive. So like I always said, I exhibit this in my No Money Spent Squad series, and that's the account I'm currently on. You just slowly want to work your way up. So you start obviously really cheap with guys like Troydan Prince, maybe guys like Purvis Ellison, maybe, Yusuf Nurkic, guys like that. Then you work your way into this type of range to Boris Diaw, DeMarre Carroll, all of these types of cards that you can pick up that are not incredibly expensive. Again, for let's say 100,000 MT, you can build a decent budget squad in today's game. Now, again, the only card that I think is nearly impossible to compete with is Victor Wembanyama. Outside of that, guys, you can build a solid budget squad for super cheap. Like the fact that DeMarre Carroll is 15,000 coins is absolutely crazy to me. And flash ahead to Friday, whenever Friday's drop comes out, we'll probably get a couple of other budget guys that are going to be able to compete. Jeff Green for 21,000 MT is a prime example of a card that is an absolute stud that you guys can pick up, can use, and have fun with, that is, relatively cheap. Then let's look ahead to the pink diamond tier. As I want to go through all of these tiers. Pink diamonds right now, they're still decently expensive. They range in price. Sometimes they'll go down, sometimes they'll go up. But the problem I have with some of your cheap pink diamonds right now in the game is they're just not great. Like even a Brad Miller, he's not worth 60, 50,000 coins. He's just not. Steve Smith, he's not worth that price tag. Obviously, when you get up to like Calvin Nat's price range, some of these type of guys, these guys are starting to, get better and better. Paul Millsap's okay. Here's where you're starting to see some guys that I think are really solid and definitely can play. It just to me is tough, at this kind of mid-range price range. After you get above like that 25,000 price range, you see a big time jump to like 75,000 price, the 75,000 price tag, where I start to see some cards that are worth it. For example, Jared Wallace, Kyle Korver. These are cards that I actually don't mind whatsoever, that I think can play at a pretty high level. And then, if you want to spend up at the pink diamond tier, you obviously can. Now, I will say this, there are some diamonds in this price range, like let's say, 50,000 price range that I like. And so, a guy like Jonathan Isaac, again, I don't know exactly what his price tag is like right now, like right around that 50,000 price range. AC Green's a beast. Marcus Smart's a beast. These are the cards. And again, I know people want, those higher tiers. They want the pink diamonds of the world, but you got to look at guys like this, Al Harrington, when you're building your budget squad, because again, those cheapish pink diamonds, in my opinion, just really aren't very good and not worth it. The only pink diamonds that I think start to become worth it are the cards like Rudy, the cards that, are 90 to 100,000 MT, Eddie Jones, Rudy Gay. These are guys that I think are really good, that Sean Kemp, that can help you compete at a really high level. Now, again, until you get to this type of tier, it's tough to make the case. I do like Paul Millsap, but outside of that, a lot of those cards aren't great. And again, at this diamond tier, if you're going to spend this much, you can go get a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr., who I think's better than all of the pink diamonds. Lonzo Ball. These are cards, Jack Sigma, that are super, super, super good. So overall, as far as like, if you don't have all of the MT in the world, it's still not necessarily the easiest to get a really good team, but it's not super difficult. Now, if you're talking about the best of the best cards, where are they at price-wise? We have seen Galaxy Opals come down a decent amount throughout the last couple of weeks. You know, Giannis isn't even incredibly expensive anymore. If you go back to like season 1, Pink Diamond LeBron, his price is still really high because I think people are starting to devalue Galaxy Opals. Dark Matters are now in the game, so the value of Galaxy Opals has slowly went down, and people are starting to realize, you know, Pink Diamond Wemby is still the best card in the game. Like, people realize that. So Wemby's price is replicates that, you know, 1.2 million coins. It doesn't surprise me whatsoever, considering he is by far and away the best card in the game. One thing I would tell you guys to be just not necessarily worried about, but a little just think about is, okay, if you hold on to Victor Wembanyama, that's fine. But when Galaxy Opal Wemby comes out, he is going to be way better than Pink Diamond Wemby. With his speed, with his defense, he's going to be quite a bit better. And so if you're holding on to a lot of like the really good Pink Diamond cards, let's say Wemby, let's say like even I'm just going to list the card, like a Cade Cunningham. I would just tell you guys to be a little bit leery of the fact that their prices could possibly go down. Same thing with Kristaps Porzingis, who I think is really good. But again, when Galaxy Opal KP comes out, you're probably going to see a lot of those prices go way down. Now, I will say a lot of these Opals aren't insanely, expensive, and we're actually starting to see the market be what it should have been all year long. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's like a big market crash today, but the market and the players are starting to become price-wise what they should be. You know, like, I'm fine with Wemby being 1 million coins. I'm honestly fine with it. I'm fine with Galaxy Opal Brown being 1 million coins. As long as you can get like a Sean Kemp for a decent price, a Jonathan Isaac, a Jaren Jackson Jr. As long as we can get these guys in that mid-range value, that should be in the mid-range value. And as long as we keep seeing these budget options. Yes, I agree. There needs to be more to play in this game. Right now, the game is boring. There's not a whole lot to grind. I get that, and I agree with that. But on the flip side of things, guys, you can start to build a really good squad for cheap and just slowly level your squad up. Kind of what I'm doing and kind of the way I'm approaching the game is, guess what? I'm grinding salary cap. I'm going to get a Pink Diamond here probably in a couple of days, because I'll get that Shatter piece next season. That'll lead towards a free Pink Diamond. I'm grinding every Sunday for the free card. I obviously got Ron Artest, and I'm just adding these unsellable cards. I got Dyson from a free pack as well. You add some of these unsellable cards that can play to, you know, picking up some guys. Let's say, like, I could pick up a Jonathan Isaac. I could pick up a Sean Kemp to play for my squad, maybe even a Jaren. That's when you're going to start to notice your squad really level up. The guy I've got in mind that I really want on my No Money Spent squad series is that Diamond Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, I'm going to be pretty specific on the exact Jaren I get. But the fact of the matter is this. Jaren's one of your better bigs in the game. And realistically, he's an option if you are No Money Spent. He is. Now, yes, you got to earn your way to him. I'm not saying it's free. I'm not saying, you know, it's super cheap. You got to earn your way to him. But the fact that he's at least accessible is important for this game right now. So yes, the game needs to continue giving out more free cards. Yes, the game needs to be more rewarding. But what I would say is this. If you grind out salary cap and start building your squad, you're going to be able to pick up some really cheap options on the auction house. I've grinded out some salary cap, started to grind out some of the domination as well, again, getting to that 5,000 MT before moving just slightly forward. But yeah, you can start to realistically see your squad come together. So that's kind of where I'm at and kind of what I'm excited about as far as the future, not only for my No Money Spent squad series, but for you guys out there as well. You can start to just think about where you're wanting your squad to be and how to approach things. So obviously, I've said it all along, it's important to have cards for really cheap options on the auction house, like guys that might not have the most coins. Guess what? Right now, they can go get Troydan Prince. Do I love this bonus card? Nah, I don't love him. But guess what? You know, he's 7-1, and he can at least help you get through domination. There are some Sapphire cards that you guys can pick up today that can help your squad out. Next up, you know, Ruby-wise, I don't necessarily think there's that many great Rubies. But, you know, as far as for their value, there's some guys that can probably help you guys out. Again, I don't necessarily love a lot of these rubies. I think a lot of them are pretty poor. But like a Michael Ray Richardson, for example, is a guy that I picked up on my No Money Spent Squad series when I was just starting that could help me out a ton. Then you get to the Amethyst here. You got a guy like Herb Jones. You got a guy like Naj Reid, who's a little more expensive. But there are cards in here that you can pick up to help your squad out. This is what I like about the game. This is what the game's always needed, is just the slow evolution. It's a slow evolution, but from bad to decent, from decent to good to great to amazing. Like, that's the evolution that Auction House has always needed, and we're starting to see prices replicate that. Now, again, I'll never be able to afford a guy like KD. I'll never be able to afford Victor Wembanyama, but guys like Jaren, guys like Sean Kemp, Rudy G, Jonathan Isaac are starting to become realistic for me, and that is something I am excited about. So that's kind of the way I'd approach the Auction House. Yes, there are still cards that are crazy expensive, but there are cards that can compete with those cards, and that's what is important on this game. Hopefully, you know, Friday content, we'll see something a little bit better. I don't necessarily love, obviously, the Tuesday drop as far as, you know, the option packs. To me, the diamonds have been horrible. But as long as the market continues to settle down, it becomes way more accessible for everybody. That's going to wrap it up for our video. Drop a like on it. Subscribe if you are new. And as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.